Welcome back. This is episode 6 of Cinema Smackdown. My name's Drew Bronson, so let's not waste any time and jump right in. Let's start with this past Saturday, as WWE headed out to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel. There were 5 title matches and 2 grudge matches, but let's start off with the World Heavyweight Championship match. Crown Jewel kicked off as Seth Rollins, the Visionary, was defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Warrior. Now, going into this match, it seemed as though Drew McIntyre may have put some extra pressure on himself going into Riyadh. And that's very interesting because it's almost like a scale that it just keeps teetering back and forth. On one end, if you put too much pressure on yourself, it may pay off as you fight through it and win, or the pressure will become too much and you will lose. We'll go more into detail about that later on. But sticking with the World Heavyweight Championship, it was a good match. The one moment in the match that had me a little stunned, actually pretty stunned, was when Seth Rollins kicked out of the Claymore. That is Drew McIntyre's best shot, and Seth Rollins kicked out of it. I'm shocked, but at the same time, I'm almost not that surprised because of the matches that Seth Rollins has had since he became World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, talking about that last man standing match he had at Fastlane against Shinsuke Nakamura, I think that's a clear example that each match that Seth Rollins has, he just keeps getting stronger and stronger despite dealing with constant back pain and his back injury that he's been open up about recently. But in the end, Seth Rollins was able to defeat the Scottish Warrior and remain the World Heavyweight Champion. To quote the Hunger Games, "May the odds be ever in your favor," which is the case for the fatal 5-way match for the Women's World Championship, as Rhea Ripley was defending against Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, and Nia Jax. Ever since Nia Jax came back a number of months ago, she's just been decimating and tearing through the women's division on Monday Night Raw. Specifically, these other 4 superstars that she fought in Riyadh. Now, as Raquel and Rhea were on the shelf for a few weeks, it was just mayhem with Nia Jax. And by the time Raquel and Rhea came back to WWE, Zoe and Shayna got involved and it just turned into a massive melee. Just a brawl that cannot be stopped. Eventually, General Manager Adam Pearce made the decision to have all 5 of them in the ring at once. As if that's going to pay off. On multiple occasions, not just in Riyadh at Crown Jewel, but for a contract signing. And when I found out that there was going to be a contract signing for this Fatal 5-way, I'm just like, yeah, might as well start praying for the security team. It was chaotic. That's all that I expected from it. And the match at Crown Jewel was chaotic as well. But in the end, the odds were indeed in Mommy's favor, as Rhea Ripley is still the Women's World Champion. For the first time in over 2,000 days, John Cena was looking to break his singles losing streak and get his first singles victory since his win over Triple H at the Greatest Royal Rumble in April of 2018. And he was hoping to do that by beating Solo Sikoa. I knew this match was going to be hard-hitting, but it was almost one-sided from when I look at it, because most of the time I'm seeing Solo just demolish John Cena, almost like it was a squash match. I mean, going into this match, John Cena was saying that this match was very serious for him because of his last singles victory being over 5 years ago. Now, I'm going to go back to what I started talking about earlier about added pressure. This is a clear example. John Cena saying how serious this match is to him in his career is adding an immense amount of pressure on his shoulders for him to win. So much so, it actually feels like before the match even happens, it's already tipping towards him losing the match. Now, I was hoping John Cena would win, but unfortunately, Solo Sikoa, after 4 or 5 straight Samoan spikes to John Cena, Solo was able to beat John Cena in the center of the ring. And what's interesting about this whole situation is that John Cena is considering retirement. Now, I know many moons ago, John Cena said that he is far from done with WWE, but that was way back then, and this is now. John Cena has been in the wrestling industry for 21 years, and he's already a 16-time world champion, Royal Rumble winner, United States champion, main evented WrestleMania, certified first ballot Hall of Famer. I would say if John Cena were to retire now, he could walk away with his head held high because there is no shame. He is definitely the greatest of all time. But that's not my decision to make. It's entirely up to John Cena. I'm just saying it's been quite a run, and if that was his last match, I would say it's an interesting note to go out on. Rey Mysterio was defending the United States Championship against Logan Paul. Here's what I'll say going into Riyadh. I thought it was finally time for Logan Paul to have some gold. No disrespect to Rey Mysterio, but you're already a Hall of Famer, and I just don't see the point for you to continue having this United States Championship run. So, yeah, I basically was just rooting for Logan Paul to win the belt. Doesn't matter if he cheats or he wins clean. I just wanted Logan Paul to be United States champion. We get to Riyadh, and Logan Paul had, I think, one of his better entrances. Maybe his best entrance so far. Because he was out on a dune buggy in the deserts of Saudi Arabia, and he literally pulled on stage and into the arena in that same buggy. It's a nice dune buggy too. If you go back and watch Crown Jewel, it's a nice ride. If I was out in the desert, I definitely would want something like that for myself. But it was a good match. It was almost like Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio were evenly matched. It was a good one, but eventually one of Logan Paul's crewmates were able to slip him some brass knuckles. And while Santos Escobar showed up and chased away Logan Paul's crony and just left the brass knuckles in the ring. And with the referee distracted with what's going on between Santos and Logan's crewmate, Logan was able to pick up the brass knuckles and put them on. He takes a 619 from Rey Mysterio, but as Rey Mysterio was looking for that springboard splash over the top rope, clocks Rey Mysterio with the brass knuckles, and 1, 2, 3, we have a brand new United States champion in Logan Paul. This is going to be a very, very interesting run. With Logan Paul as champion and him also in the boxing world, things are about to get very interesting. It was Io Sky defending the WWE Women's Championship against the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair. There's only one thing that I really want to talk about from this match. The match was good, but the one thing of why I'm so happy right now is because for the first time in a long time on WWE television, the Pirate Princess, Kairi Sane, is back. And with an assist from Kairi Sane, Io Sky was actually able to retain the Women's Championship over Bianca Belair. And here's the very interesting point that Michael Cole brought up after the match was over. So we all know Io Sky is in damage control with Dakota Kai and Bayley. But if Kairi Sane is on their side, here's the point that Michael Cole was saying. The last time Kairi Sane was on WWE television was on Monday Night Raw many years ago during the pandemic era, and she was attacked and kicked out of WWE by Bayley. So maybe when Smackdown rolls around this coming Friday, we'll see what happens between Kairi and Bayley. Hopefully they bury the hatchet, because Kairi Sane in damage control? Yeah, that's something I want to see. And I'll tell you guys why near the end of this video. Because the next Premium Live event, oh yeah, it's going to be fun. But yeah, Kairi Sane is back in WWE, and we can't wait to see where this goes from here. Cody Rhodes was going one-on-one with the Punisher of the Judgment Day, Senor Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. Now, prior to Crown Jewel, on the previous Monday night on Raw, Damian Priest and JD McDonough near shattered the ankle with a steel chair attack on Cody Rhodes. Yet, when Cody Rhodes was making his entrance at Crown Jewel, I was expecting him to have some sort of brace or something around his leg, around his ankle, but I guess it was alright. I don't think they talked much about Cody Rhodes' bad ankle throughout majority of the match. And eventually, at some point during the match, which is kind of expected at this point, the rest of the Judgment Day came out to assist Damian Priest against Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes had some help himself, as it was main event Jey Uso that just super kicked the heads off of everybody in Judgment Day. Balor, Mysterio, McDonough, all of them. And just chased them out of ringside, out of the arena with a steel chair. Eventually leading to Cody Rhodes beating Damian Priest for the victory. In the main event of Crown Jewel, it was Roman Reigns defending the undisputed Universal Championship against LA Knight. Now, there were some major mind games played by LA Knight going into Saudi Arabia. I think one of the biggest happened really throughout the entire contract signing, because the contract signing was kicking off Smackdown a couple of weeks ago, and Roman Reigns was making his entrance out first. But before he continued walking down the aisle, I believe this is the first time this has ever happened, Roman Reigns' entrance gets cut off by LA Knight. But as LA Knight is walking past Roman Reigns, doesn't even bat an eye. Just walks right past him into the ring. Eventually, Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman do get inside the ring, but Roman Reigns being the head of the table, Paul Heyman moves one of the chairs from the side of the table to, well, the head of the table. Only for LA Knight to sit in that seat. That is some major mind games being played by LA Knight. And it just adds to his monstrous amount of momentum going into Crown Jewel. And what a match that was. I mean, a spear through the barricade, Superman punches. But what's interesting is, just like Seth Rollins kicking out of McIntyre's Claymore, LA Knight kicked out of the spear. which is at this point almost unheard of. But LA Knight was able to do it. He even managed to hit a BFT on Roman Reigns, and Reigns was able to kick out of that. So I guess that's one way to make things even. But in the end, with an assist from Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns is still the undisputed Universal Champion. Now that Crown Jewel is out of the way, I want to touch on Night 2 of NXT Halloween Havoc. I may not talk about everything, but there are 3 specific matches that I want to talk about. The fact that we had Melo versus Dragunov, a match that could happen, stand and deliver NXT's biggest stage, happened right here in Orlando, Florida at the Performance Center on NXT TV. It was absolutely amazing. They once again had a phenomenal match. Out of this entire saga, though, I would say that their match at No Mercy was definitely the best. But that's just my thoughts. But Halloween Havoc, Melo and Dragunov 3. Some of the best moments in the match were just the times that Dragunov was on the offense. I mean, an H-bomb elbow drop through the announce table, flying coast to coast, getting caught in mid-air, delivering coast to coast, I might add, and just, it was brutal. But that's what I come to expect from Ilya Dragunov, because he's just that damn good. Eventually, Trick Williams, who hasn't been seen in a few weeks, comes out and it completely catches Carmelo off guard. When I was watching NXT back on Peacock, I saw Carmelo's face and it was almost a look of shock. Because Trick Williams, when he came out, he wasn't rooting Melo on. In fact, it was almost like he was staring a hole right into Carmelo Hayes. Eventually, with this distraction by Trick Williams, Ilya Dragunov was able to capitalize and retain the NXT Championship. Now, before NXT went off the air, Trick Williams gets into the ring and almost just throws Melo back onto his feet, and they're locking eyes. All of a sudden, it cuts to a backstage attack by Baron Corbin on Ilya Dragunov. But I think my prediction was correct, that it was indeed him, aka Melo, that attacked Trick Williams in the first place a couple weeks ago. Maybe they'll have a one-on-one match at Deadline. It could be a qualifying match for Iron Survivor. Maybe they're both in the Iron Survivor Challenge. We don't know yet. We'll find out more this coming Tuesday on NXT. But also, touching on Baron Corbin and Ilya Dragunov, this is the match that I wanted to see at Halloween Havoc in the first place. I wanted Baron Corbin to win that triple threat a couple weeks ago. But it looks like we're finally going to get this at NXT Deadline. It is not made official yet, but that is a match that I want. And actually, it's very fitting, because if it's not on a TV special, it's definitely deserving of a premium live event main event. Baron Corbin has been absolutely on a roll since this revival he had in NXT. And now it's taking him all the way to the NXT title. That is going to be good when it comes to that time. But let's stick with Halloween Havoc. In the finals of the NXT Breakout Tournament, it was down to the 2 favorites, Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. Now, Lola Vice has always had Elektra Lopez in her corner. So going into the finals, I was considering maybe Elektra Lopez could get involved in some sort of way, maybe cost Kalani the Breakout Tournament final. But this match was pretty much split down the middle, 50-50. I mean, what else would you expect when you have the 2 favorite superstars in this tournament go at it for the chance to have a guaranteed Women's Championship contract to face Lyra Valkyria sometime down the road? It was a good match. Elektra Lopez eventually got involved, which gave Lola Vice the opportunity to take advantage and win the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. I would take absolutely nothing away from Kalani Jordan. She's definitely going to be going places sometime down the future. Maybe a lot of these new breakout superstars could have their shot when it comes to these upcoming qualifying matches for the Iron Survivor Challenge at NXT Deadline. We'll wait and see what happens, but congratulations to Lola Vice, who is the NXT Breakout Tournament winner. Shawn Michaels. What the hell were you thinking when you made this match? It was the Creed brothers versus Garza and Carrillo in tables, ladders, and scares. Carrillo and Garza weren't even given a second to get into the ring before the Creed brothers went after them and the match got started. I'm honestly still a little speechless after this match because it was one of the more brutal matches I have ever seen. Almost like this match entirely could give Dragunov a run for his money. But Julius got battered and bruised really badly. Lots of tables and ladders got broken. It got so bad in a good way to the point where I was looking at my friend standing next to me and I just started speaking nonsense. Like, I was speaking inaudible stuff. Like, I mean, I guess that's where body language comes in handy, but I couldn't even muster up the words to even talk about that match that night. It was absolutely incredible. They damn near tore the PC down. But in the end, the Creed brothers were able to beat Garza and Carrillo and what I believe is a potential match of the year candidate. That's all I really want to talk about for Halloween Havoc. There's one more thing I want to talk about before we get out of here. Well, I guess it's that time. Let's go to war. The next time WWE is on pay-per-view will be Saturday, November 25th from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois for Survivor Series War Games. Now, here's what I really want to talk about before we get more matches made for the show. I'm going to make my prediction set for who I think is going to be in both the men's and the women's War Games matches. Prior to Fastlane, for the men, we have an alliance between the Judgment Day and the Bloodline. So that's one team of 5 already set because you have Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. And they could be taking on the team of LA Knight, John Cena, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and a mysterious 5th member, who some of my friends and maybe some rumors are saying it could be Randy Orton, but we don't know anything about that right now. That's what I think is going to happen for the men's War Games match. Now, after Crown Jewel, I can start to think of how the women's War Games match will be set up. It would be the Damage Control, which would be Bayley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, should she be 100% by the time we get to Chicago, and Kairi Sane, and a 5th member taking on the team of Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and 2 more members on their team. We'll find out in the next coming weeks on who those final members will be, but that's what I think the War Games matches will be set up to be. We'll find out in the next coming weeks, but I'm just glad we finally get to see more of War Games. That's going to do it this week for Cinema Smackdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that we can get notified every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern when a new video goes out. See you guys next week.